Welcome to another fantastic Math 130 lecture on video with yours truly, Professor Mimi Rasky. We're going to do Part B of Example 4 that corresponds with Lecture number 5. In this particular video, we're going to be talking a lot about format specifiers, and after watching this video, you'll be able to do your lab number 2 successfully, which has a lot of decimal alignment in it. So let's take a look at the first part here. We already know %.2f, but there's this extra little comma in there. I don't know if you could see that, but it's snuck in between the percent symbol and the decimal point. What is that going to do? Well, if you have a large whole number part of your floating point value, it's going to put comma separators in there. And we know the .2 is going to round it to 2 decimal places, and the F stands for floating point. So let's take a look at this code fragment. Double gross pay, 5,874.127. Okay, and then this printf statement has the words your pay is, so that's going to be part of our answer for this. And notice how there is a space in between the word is and the format specifier, and that's good because it means that it won't be jumbled right next to the word there. And then it's going to print out the gross pay because this format specifier corresponds to gross pay. So if it didn't have that little comma snuck in there, the output would simply be 5874 point, and then to round .127 to having only 2 decimal places, we would round up because the hundredths place, the 2, is getting forced upwards by the 7. Now, because of that comma, there will be a comma separator here in between the 5 and the 8. So there it is. There's the answer. Your pay is 5,874.13. And I'm forgetting there will be a period because there is a period after that format specifier as well. Okay, let's go on to the next part. Here we have some blanks that we're going to need to fill in. So let's take a look. We have a couple of int variables, Alberto, who's initialized to 77, Jason, who gets initialized to 291. Jesus, Miguel, and Angel are all double data types. So if you look here, we have to fill in the blanks for these 5 printf statements. And the key is that they want everybody decimal aligned with no more than 3 decimal places. So what does this mean that we'd like the output to be? So if I write down over here what we'd like it to be, well, Alberto only has 2 digits for his whole number part. And if he did have a decimal point, it would go right after that 7. Jason will have his decimal line up. He doesn't have one, but it would be, he'd line up exactly under Jason where the ones digits will line up with each other and so on. Now, Jesus here, he's 0.999, so he already has 3 decimal places, so that's good. So he would print out over here .999, and there may or may not be a 0 printed out. We'll see if it does. I think it will. And now Miguel, oh dear, 818118 point and a whole bunch of 7s. I don't even care to count up how many 7s he has in these decimal places. But what we do care about is that compared to all of the variables, Miguel has the most whole number part digits. So he has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 whole number parts. And then for 3 decimal places, let's work on that first. We want these decimals to align, and all of these 7s to 3 decimal places will round to .778. And then Miguel will have 8181818. So that's how he'll line up. Angel only has 3 digits for his whole number parts, so he will have 1, 2, 3, and the decimal points are all lining up here. And then his 4, 5, 6, 1, 8, and so on. The 6 will not get rounded up because the 10,000th place there is a 1, so it remains unchanged. So this is what we want the output to look like. So because the most number of whole number parts is 7. We're going to go with that. So the format specifier for the int variables will need a width of 7. So %7D, %7D is what both Alberto and Jason will need. And Jesus, Miguel, and Angel will all use the same format specifier, but we need to figure out what the total number of spaces they'll need. And they're all going to really rely upon Miguel since he had the largest whole number parts. So the total number of spaces, let's count, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then the decimal point counts as a space, so that's 8, 9, 10, 11. So 11 point, and then the number of decimal places they told us we want is 3, and then the F specifies that we have a floating point value. And so all three of these variables will have %11.3F as their format specifiers. So we're done there, and I happen to have NetBeans all ready to go, so let's check it out. So here in NetBeans, I've also left these blanks, but I purposely want to first do an error. So let's put in just %D only for both the variables named Alberto and Jesus, and I just want you to see what would happen if you did that. And we'll put 11.3F as we figured out we needed. And I will say that you may want to have one extra whole number part. Sometimes what I do is that even though Miguel had 7 whole number parts, sometimes I'll leave extras. So you may want to put 12.3F here just to have an extra margin. So check this out. If I go over there and do a file save, which is always a good thing to do before you run, and then click on my Dick Hatch example 4B, and I right-click to run file, you'll notice down here in the output, this is definitely not decimal aligned. Well, the double data types all decimal aligned very nicely, but it looks like Alberto and Jason didn't do so well. So I'm going to have to go back and change it. So if I go back and put what we said we were going to do, %7D, and then I'll do another save. Let's do a run file. Aha! Now look, we have complete decimal alignment here, and it looks all very beautiful. And so that's it. And hopefully you do well and you are successful in doing decimal alignment in your code. Good luck.